And I will go ahead and start recording this.
Recording in progress.
I'd like to welcome everybody to the January 2024 edition of the Westside Computer Club. Our format will be tonight, we'll have our open forum, and then we'll continue on to some topics that have been brought to my attention by members that things they'd like us to discuss tonight. With that being said, I'd like to open up the floor with the first questions of the evening for anyone that's having any computer-related issues or problems. Now that that is gone, let's go on. I'm sorry, I'm just kind of having fun being a little light over here. Does anyone have any issues or problems? None. Okay. So the other thing I put down on our list was, did anybody obtain or receive anything or give anything that's electronic related as a gift for the holidays, and they'd like to bring it to everyone's attention? Anyone?
I have something.
Okay, Bob.
So my daughter gave me a notebook.
You might want to turn off your background because we can't see you or
yeah.
You have to turn off your background thing.
It's a standard size notebook with a spiral down the side of it. It's produced by something called Rocket Book. Some of you may have heard of it. It has about 12 white pages in it, and you write with a special pen, and you use your camera and take a picture of it. And there are symbols on the bottom of the page that will tell the picture processing system where to store this picture. So you can write your notes down and get them in your computer very quickly. And then you wipe that white page clean and start another page.
Oh, so are you writing on it with pen and ink?
It's a special pen.
Okay.
It's a regular ballpoint pen. You only write on it once. So this is a water soluble basically, and you use with a fiber rag to dampen and wipe the page clean. And you got 11 or 12 pages in this. I tried counting them, but they stick together a bit. So
like a modern Etch-a-Sketch.
Yes, except it's flexible. Maybe you can see a little bit of it in the picture.
Yeah.
And goes. Yeah. Sorry.
So that's called a Rocket Book. Let's see if I can pull that up.
It comes in two sizes. This is the full 8.5 by 11 size. I still have my little secretary's notebook, half page spiral at the top, where I take notes during meetings. But I don't get them into the computer.
Okay, Rocket Book, the original. And just give me a second, I'll share this screen so we can all see what this is.
Yeah, for taking notes during a meeting, I just open up a notepad document.
Listen, this was a gift that he got. So I see Rocket Book Fusion, plan, scan, reuse. Let's just scroll down. So you got a Pro, a Mini, a Core, and a Fusion. And eco-friendly, lots of features. Oh, I see how it just wipes right off. This is a pretty nifty device here. You spray it with water, you wipe. Look at that. What's the little QR code do?
So there's an app that will read that QR code, and the system someplace, I haven't gotten that far with it yet, knows where you want it filed. So you can put it on your iDrive or your OneDrive or Google Drive or some folder on your hard drive.
I see. It says you could take them, save the notes to the cloud.
Right.
Oh,
I have a question.
yes.
If you're writing it on something like that, is it basically taking a photo of it?
You use your phone camera to take the picture.
Okay. And if
And you have
take
an app on your phone that will then process that code and try to send it where you want it to go.
Yeah, okay. But if you have a picture of it, how do you, type in a note somehow onto that picture?
Is it a picture or is it an OC? Oh, there it says OCR.
OCR is an option. My daughter says she looked at that or tried it once or twice, but it was a little. OCR has been around for a long time, but I'm not sure how long this OCR has been around.
Yeah, my experience with OCR with handwriting is it needs to be trained.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I might actually have to learn penmanship.
All of us would. The reason I asked that was because I've had text pictures sent to me, and I'd like to alter them or add notes to them, and it's almost impossible for me to do without retyping.
They were sent to you as a picture?
Yeah, sent as a picture.
Yeah, pictures, you can't edit a picture per
No.
se contextually. You can edit a picture as a photo.
Yeah.
That's it. You can change, modify it, and enhance it, but you can't OCR it. Now, if you convert it to another format, like a PDF, then you can change it to something else. You can alter it and edit it.
Now, with the 23H2 upgrade, Windows 11 is going to give Paint an AI OCR capability.
Yes.
That will work on pictures.
Yes.
We don't know how well yet.
Yeah, but also you have Power Toys that works on 10 and 11. It has an OCR. Now, earlier on, it was crap, but they've dramatically improved it over the last number of updates. And it's still not to version 1 yet.
That is true. And Tim and others may remember that I used to use Sumo to know what my programs were and what updates, what versions they were, so that I could check for updates. Well, Windows 10 and Windows 11 have an all apps settings page, but it is in graphical format. And this is why I got Power Toys for their OCR. It's the text extractor. And it does a decent enough job so that I can actually make a little document. And then I'll edit the document and I'll colorize it according to which things actually can be updated on their own, which things are Windows components, which things are store apps, and which things are parts of other programs, and which things are driver related. So there's about 5 or 6 different colors I code things. And that's better than most of the updating programs will do for you. So yes, this ability to take text from pictures is coming to Windows. It's going to be better. And right now you can do it with Power Toys.
Thank you.
Okay, did anyone else get anything for the holidays? No. Wow. Okay. Bear with me a second. I'm trying to find something that I had bought. Let's see if I can find this thing.
You were your own Santa Claus?
Well, yeah, it happens. Let me see if I can get this.
I'm another one that bought stuff too, but mine was all components. upgrading about 6 to 8 different computers.
Spaceman projector LED.
Yeah. All right. This does not do it justice. I thought that we'd have a couple of pictures here. This was a little toy-like thing. It stands about a foot, about 8 inches, about 10 inches tall on a base. And I bought this as like just a joke thing to see, is this something I'd like? Turns out I love this thing. It is great. And this picture here does not do it any justice whatsoever. I picked up in Menards on their Black Friday deals. Let's see, PR. Let me go backwards. I should be able to go backwards. They have another kind that I could illustrate or show you that kind of shows what this does. Here it is, this one, which I couldn't find in the stores. So basically what this does is it projects LED star pattern on your sky, and then it also projects kind of like nebulas on the sky, on your ceiling. I said sky, it actually does it on your ceiling. So it's kind of an effect thing. It's pretty cool to put in the room and have it playing around, so your room is lit up with stars and this nebula that's turning and curling around while you're watching TV. It just gives you another dimension to what's in your room. So it was pretty cool. Black Friday, it was like $10. Definitely enjoyed buying this thing. And once I realized what it was, I went back to Menards and they're all gone. And you can't find them anywhere in the country. So, because everyone realized how cool this thing really was, especially for the price. It was just like, oh, this is cool. And I told my buddy in Wisconsin about it. Of course, he had to run out and go get one by him. And he says the same thing. It's really cool. You could buy, they sell them on Amazon, similar things. There's like star projectors. And you could pay, I think, upwards of $25 or something. They could do all kinds of cool things. It's just an effect to have in your room for additional lighting. So,
Amazon does have an astronaut galaxy light projector.
oh,
Spaceman.
it does.
Yeah.
I did that. Show it to me. Can you share it?
Just a moment. Let me get my screen. Okay, here's you guys. Here's the share screen. Screen share and
Oh, there it is.
minimize you guys.
$35. Oh, come on. You saw that it was at Menards was like $13 or $14 or something like that. And I bought it for $10. I can't believe that. And yeah, the head moves around. It's kind of wonky in how it works, but it works pretty cool. You set it and forget it. It's not worth $35 though. So
Well,
this shows you how much Amazon does mark up their products.
yes, but also too, Menards is doing flash sales online. Probably a product that has not been moving well, and they got it dirt cheap. And I think they really are letting the people who have the product move the product.
Yep. Which is fine. For us consumers, it's fine.
Yeah, I've gotten a couple items on the flash sale stuff.
So you can see this video here does help a lot, Bob. Thanks for showing this. It's pretty cool. It was something I was going to give to like one of my grandkids or something.
And you have
After I got it, I thought, I'll go buy another one and give that to them. I'm going to keep this one for myself. And then I went back and I couldn't find them. So, but it's pretty neat. It's a cool little entertainment thing. I have it running in our room almost every night. Just because you can. It's USB powered, doesn't take up much electricity. So that was one thing. And of course, the other thing here is I bought a little hand warmer. I don't know if this will show up, a little pocket hand warmer. There you go. These are always good to have. You get these, Aldi, I saw them at Aldi for like $12, $13, $10 at Menards when they had that. And the other thing that I received, it's somewhat electronic related. It's this vest that I'm wearing. it's actually battery powered, electric heated. So if I turn this on, hopefully I'll turn on.
And we can watch Sanford melt.
Push and hold for 3 seconds.
Press and hold for 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. There it is. So you can see it turns red right there. And you change the heat setting. So it has heat in front, in the back, and in the collar. You turn on which sections, which zones you want to heat up. And then it comes with a 14,400 milliamp hour battery. Pretty big battery pack. For those of us that live in cold weather climates, and we have thin blood, which I'm getting thinner blood every year, it seems. This is unbelievable. It just keeps me so toasty and warm. This is definitely a buy. This is something my wife got me for Christmas, and I'm really grateful of it.
I got one for my son.
But Jim, you bought one for your son?
No, I got it from my son.
Oh, so you got one too? And
mine's not quite as sophisticated.
Okay. I didn't pick this out. She did. She did a lot of looking and research, and I'm just ecstatic with it. It comes with this aluminum reflective lining here that keeps the heat pulled in. It's carbon fiber heat coils that are in here. It's washable. I would never wash it, but it is. But I really like it. So for those of us that have cold blood, great thing. Really like it. It's not necessarily computer related, but it's as close as I could get to electronic.
Who manufactures it?
Let me see. PIFMYSEDOL. That's the name that's on the tag. And I haven't even looked it up to see what it is on Amazon. I know that's where she got it. But there's probably, she says there's so many flavors of these that you could find out there that you go nuts shopping for them. So she told me, she says, if you want to find a better one, go for it. Spend the hours looking. I said, nope, you did all the research. I'm happy as not going to question that. So this was my find. Jim is bringing his. What do you
show us, Jim? It had a label.
What letter of the alphabet did that brand name begin with?
The one I got?
Yeah.
Oh, it says, wait. Let me get the Paul.
P.
Idiot, F as in Frank, MYSEDOL.
Well, let's see if we can.
And so it comes with
found it.
Found it. Good. All right. Like I said, what's nice is you can go outside and just wear this and not need a jacket, because the heat that this generates keeps you toasty. As long as your arms are okay.
Yeah, now all I've got to do is find the men's version.
Jim, let me see yours. We didn't get to see it. I know you had it.
It looks essentially like yours.
Oh, there you go. Is it metal on the inside?
No.
Like reflective on the inside?
No.
No.
Somewhere it is. In the back.
Oh, it's in the back. Okay.
Only the back's reflective.
All right. The only thing I wish it had was heated pockets.
Well, where does your battery go?
It goes in the front pocket in the bottom.
Well, I know my battery gets very warm, so that pocket gets very warm when I wear mine.
Here's the battery pack. And of
Yeah.
course, it's got a digital display on it. Which, here, I can unplug it. Of course, you can't read the numbers, but it says 97, meaning 97% full. So you can also use this as a power bank, you know, to recharge your other devices. It's USB-C.
Yep, that pretty well matches what they say about it on Amazon.
Right.
9 different panels.
Yeah, 9 different panels of heat. Because it's got them in, you know, various zones in the back, front, collar. The neck one is pretty neat. All right, so that is what I got. My wife picked up a laptop, and it's a Lenovo laptop. Let me just see if I can pull it up and find it. We got it at Costco, so I'll have to go pull up my Costco thing and see if I can find this. Is this the one? Yeah. Let me share this screen so you can see which one she picked up. This is not the price she paid. So it's a 14-inch touchscreen, 2-in-1. It flips over to a tablet style, and it's based off of the AMD Ryzen. 16 gigs RAM and 512 gigabyte SSD. Windows 11, of course, home. Touchscreen and backlit keyboard. Those were things that she really wanted in a laptop. She liked small too. The only thing I don't have any background knowledge is to say whether this AMD Ryzen was a good choice or not.
It can be. That's a Ryzen 7 7th generation. I can tell that.
Yeah.
And Ryzen quite often performs better than the Intel because it usually has more cores than comparable Intel chips. Now you have a Ryzen 3, a Ryzen 5, a Ryzen 7, and a Ryzen 9. And
So
nines are usually for gamers.
They also had this Lenovo Flex with an Intel chip on there. I'm trying to see if I could find it here. Compare this.
Okay, I've got the chip.
You got the chip, okay?
On mine, and now from Quora, let's find out what they think of it.
Was it this one?
It's generally considered better than an Intel i7 12555U.
Okay.
So it's comparable to an Intel i7.
This is
12th gen.
Right. The number after the Ryzen is corresponds to i3, i5, i7, i9 in Intel chips. And then, like Intel, you have a plethora of different models that go from slow clock, less cores, etc., etc. But this would be the equivalent of an Intel i7 chip on the system. It'll probably have more cores than the corresponding Intel chip. Therefore, a lot of times you get better performance.
Better performance on multi-core tasks, but per single core, not as good.
Yes, It's the way they lay out the cores in it. But my first experience was with a chip a nephew gave me that's a 2200G. So it's a Ryzen 3 2200G. The G stands for gaming. So it's like an i3, and this thing will do circles around an Intel Core i3.
Yeah.
But you're only going to go up on Windows 10. It will not handle 11. And that's the problem with the Ryzen chips. Some are designed such that they'll only work with 10 and never 11. And other ones will handle 10 or 11. You got to do your homework.
Right. Well, this one did come with 11 built in.
11.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wasn't going to go and try to get her 10 and move up. So just go right out the door with 11.
Yeah, it looks pretty decent.
Yeah, it was pretty decent. Got it for like in the $500 range, 550, I think, for the laptop, which I thought was a pretty darn good price. The other one she picked out was an HP Dragonfly, which was $1,100 on sale. Eek, with a magnesium body.
Yes.
And of course, that was running the Core i7, 32 gigs of RAM, a terabyte SSD. It had all these other great things on it, but for the price, like, who needs to spend $1,100?
Well, it's also a business class machine.
It was. It definitely was a business class machine. It came with Windows 11 Pro.
See, most of us get computers that are consumer class, and then we wonder why they don't last us as long. When you get business class, you're spending a whole lot more money, you get more support, and they usually last longer. You can still have ones that fail, but not at the rate of the consumer class machines.
Sure.
And I got several machines here that I bought used or refurbished. They're all business class, including the one I'm on right now that's an antique. And yet it's business class. It lasted 15 years before the motherboard gave out. I got a exact replacement, and so far it works too, Ned. It's just that our software is starting to show problems on this old machine, but I've got newer stuff, but I like the challenge of playing with the old equipment and see how far I can push it.
Now, I will buy a computer to last, so I'm willing to sink a little money into it.
Right. And like I say, going business class is the smart way to go if you're going to want to have the computer last a long time, have less problems, better support, better warranty. It's the way to go, even if you get used or refurbished ones. All the machines that I bought like this are business class machines. They were bought used, not refurbished. And bottom line, these suckers and the Dell ones that I've got, they're all business class. And the insides look a little better than what you're going to get in the consumer class stuff. And on the consumer class stuff, they too often use somewhat cheaper components. That's why they have a tendency to fail more. So if you want
one simple but brilliant trick to heat your home in 90.
Oh, that was good. That wasn't me.
Okay. Well, but like I'm getting at, it's kind of like buying an Apple. Apple laptops and desktops, I've seen inside some, and the quality of the insides of the machine are much higher quality than you're going to get in PCs consumer class. You have to go to business class in PCs to get something comparable to Apple's hardware. That's not a joke.
I agree.
Okay, did anybody else get anything they wanted to share?
Like I said, all I got was a lot of components to upgrade a lot of computers.
Okay.
Especially putting like Wi-Fi in those little boxes. You just a Wi-Fi chip, and I had to pick out my stuff for antennas. But the stupid part about that is the Wi-Fi chips are the modern ones, and they have, you can't make it out much here on this. I'm putting it in front of my face so you get a little contrast. Very fine wire. And the little clip at the end here goes on the Wi-Fi card, and they're half the size of the prior generation Wi-Fi cards, especially in laptops. And putting these things on can be a little nightmare.
It can be.
I have to have either high-powered reading glasses or a illuminated magnifying glass that's on a stand, so that I can see the components and get it to sit on correctly. Otherwise, it was a trip. And then after that, because there was no Wi-Fi in the machine when the OS was put in, you have to manually turn on Wi-Fi services. You have to also play around a little bit with the Bluetooth in some cases, because some driver updates come in called BLINK. If it's 5.1, it won't work. You have to roll back the driver in Device Manager in administration mode to roll it back to the prior 5.0 version. Otherwise, you can't get Bluetooth, and that's one of the main, the two main reasons I got it is for the Wi-Fi, and the other is for Bluetooth.
Okay, did anyone else get anything? And Terry Moy is popping in. I guess we could ask Terry as soon as he chimes in. Terry, did you get anything for the holidays that you'd like to
Yes,
share?
we got a new gas stove and a new clothes washer, and they have computers in them.
They have computers in them. Are they Wi-Fi enabled?
Yeah. I'll have to check.
You have to check. Okay. A buddy of mine just got. He bought two stoves that he put in, and they are Wi-Fi enabled.
Wow.
I thought that was kind of amusing, and he goes, like, I don't know what he's going to need it for. I said, you need it for checking when your wife left the oven on, which he has a wife that does tend to forget things. So that would be a good, valuable thing to have.
You don't want to pull a John Orry and burn down the house in the meantime.
Well, yeah.
Well, I have a neighbor across the street. The house is being sold to a flipper, but he's leaving the appliances in that he ended up buying for his sister that's now institutionalized. And the washing machine is out of sight. It is an extra large capacity top load washer. I've used it a couple times just for the heck of it. And it looks neat, but for her, she could have used a stackable washer dryer that you find in apartments. Because all she would do was one or two little pieces of laundry at a time until the machines would wear out, practically on a daily basis.
Yeah. So you didn't get to buy these machines?
No, I tried to, but he wanted to use it as an enhancement for selling the property. The dryer, I don't think is as sophisticated, but it's not bad on sophistication. But the washers, I would call it computerized because it does load sensing. And the very first thing it does is it'll sense how much the load is to know how much to wash it. It'll tell you an estimate of washing, and you select different, more than a dozen different things that you can change and alter for one wash cycle.
That's crazy.
It's fantastic.
Harry, did you get anything for the holidays?
Good night's sleep. No gifts. We got a couple of packs of goodies from kids out of town, and other than that, was pretty quiet.
Okay.
Nobody came in. It was a quiet Christmas, which was good.
And so nobody came down your chimney, is what you're saying?
No, not that. That would be interesting.
Considering you don't have a chimney.
Yeah, I do have a chimney.
The
only thing that goes, it's a vent for the hot water heater.
Right. That's what they are anymore. And that's because
other than that, it was a peaceful Christmas. Talk to everybody. A lot of texting going on. Lots of pictures of the new great grandchild, things like that.
Anybody else? Okay, Harry, I sent you.
She's very happy with her gas and oven, and but the clothes washer she wanted was a front end load instead of a top load, so she's very happy with that.
Good. So you got to learn how to use this stuff, right?
Yeah, that's lifetime.
Harry Nelson, I sent you a chat. Just so
I
you know.
see that. Thanks for telling me that.
I
hadn't heard about that.
Neither did I. Okay, so now that we covered one of my favorite topics of what you got, and many of us did not get anything or give anything, but many of us did. Shall we go on to our subjects of the evening? Tom O'Connor brought up Password Manager, aka LastPass. Tom, you had some questions or things you wanted to know about LastPass.
I'm thinking about is
Tom, you got a sound problem. Microphone's not picking up right.
Just talk closer to the microphone.
I moved closer to the machine. Is it any better?
There.
Perfect.
Okay. Well, the main thing I'm thinking about right now, I don't trust those type of programs too much, and I keep a nice list of my passwords. Well, I use the computer to do it, but I'm not online when I do it, and I have them all on a what do you call them? A thumb drive, I believe you call them.
Okay.
So when I put them all together, I get them offline and I put them out onto there and I print it off, and then I get the thumb drive out of the system.
So you're saying what you do is more or less like you make an Excel spreadsheet or a Word document or something, and you're putting your passwords in there as a textual version?
Yes.
And then when you need it, I'm assuming you do like a copy and paste.
No, I don't do it like that because then I'd have to have it into the system. When I need it, I just look on my list and I have it right in front of me.
Okay.
So they're not in the system at any time. Well, I
And
should say the only time they're in the system is when the system is not on anything but working with the thumb drive and it's not connected to anything else. And I only have the thumb drive in when I'm changing passwords and they're going on there into the basically a nice long list.
so are you looking for an alternative or what?
Well, I'm wondering if something like LastPass would be a good alternative, or if there's other choices, or if I should even use something like that, because I don't know how good something like that could be.
Okay.
I can come up with some pretty strange, pretty wild passwords that I don't think anybody could break.
Well, I've used LastPass for more than 10 years. And yes, they've been hacked several times. Just recently, they have decided anybody who does not have 12 character or more passwords are going to have to do a change here in January for their master password. Because when you have less than 12, and I have, I think, around 20 character, it's a case where the hackers might be able to crack some of the LastPass stuff that's been stolen that's all encrypted on your computer. An alternative is Bitwarden, and it's very, very popular. I also use Bitwarden now. Bitwarden has a lot of nice features. Um, LastPass decided to restrict how many systems you could use on it at one time, and it used to be wide open. I had it on every computer, but in 2022, I think it was, they started restricting it without you paying like about $3 a month fee. But Bitwarden is an excellent password manager, totally free, works on all your computers and your phones and tablets.
Okay. Yeah, and I understand that LastPass is coming up and saying that you have to have more than 12 characters.
That's correct.
And, because I do have LastPass on my system, but I don't use it.
Well, I have, and I haven't been hacked into any of my accounts because I learned long ago. It's been 8 years at least that I moved up to 12 character. Then I moved up to 16 character. I'm now at 20 character passwords. And both of these have a password generator. You tell it how long you want, whether you want upper lowercase letters, numbers, special characters on sites that will take special characters. Some sites give you the ability to use limited number of special characters, and in that case there, you have to take and make sure that you're only getting the special characters that are allowed by that site. Some will say no special characters, just upper lowercase letters and numbers.
Okay, well, I don't think I've tripped over that, but maybe I haven't just got around it because I'm doing it myself. But I'm always using special characters.
Well, I mean, the majority of them will take special characters,
Yeah.
but there are sites that either say you cannot use special characters or you can only use a limited set of special characters, and they tell you which ones are allowed.
Right. No, I've seen something like that before.
Okay, so the subject is password managers,
Yes.
correct?
Correct.
Both of these are
So,
password managers.
Under that heading, the main heading, what are the options that a person has? You have Bitwarden, you have LastPass, you have Google that's built into your Google browsers. Please don't. Okay. You also have a password manager that's built into
Edge
Microsoft
and
Edge.
Firefox.
And I'm assuming Chrome. No, that's Google. I don't. DuckDuckGo, I think, has a password manager also.
Firefox does too.
Firefox. I'm sorry. How could I forget
Yes,
Firefox?
I said Firefox.
They all have a manager that will save and store your passwords and regurgitate them as needed.
Yes.
And not all of those will have the ability to generate a complex password.
Correct. And the other thing is they're not portable. The LastPass, Bitwarden, OnePass, and a bunch of other ones, those other ones cost money. They're all portable because they're in the cloud. That means you can be anywhere in the world that's got internet access, and you can access it possibly through your phone and or portable computer.
Google's Chrome, the Google one will work when you're logged into your Google account.
Well, yeah, but also too, I don't trust them because they had a bad reputation saving passwords well in the past, and they were plain text, no encryption. It's
okay,
only
but that was in the past, Tim.
Just a minute. Only in the last 5 years have they added encryption.
Okay, but they did solve their problem.
Yeah, but also too, there's on some of the browsers a limitation. How many passwords can I store on my system? Not all of them, but some of them do restrict it. Whereas the password managers, I've never seen yet a storage restriction.
Does anyone? Go ahead, Bob.
One thing to keep in mind, there are also some password managers, including the cross-platform KeyPass cross-platform, which allow you to store your database locally or on on the same flash drive or on a separate flash drive. So you do have local options.
Well, I want to mention because you and I know exactly what you're talking about, Bob. And I was thinking Tom was actually using something like KeyPass, but there you have to have a flash drive that will work in your phone so that you can take it with you and plug it into your phone and be able to access your stuff easily that way.
Well, with both Apple and Samsung having gone over to USB-C, that's less of a problem than it used to be.
Yes, but that's only recent, and only if you got a recent phone.
Or you can get an adapter for Lightning.
Yes.
Or whatever phone you have. And they do make USB drives that plug into phones.
Right. But I'm just saying.
They also make USB drives that are Wi-Fi enabled.
Right.
Or Bluetooth.
Yes.
If you should need something like that. What other?
Tim.
Yeah.
I agree with Tim. I've been using Bitwarden for a couple years now. My wife and I share it. There are little things like the Amazon account, Prime. I don't want to open one for her and one for me. So we share that account. Okay. And if I have to change the password, it's immediately changed for her. I even learned, because I didn't know when I started, how to use it on an iPhone. Mm-hmm. You can open it up on an iPhone and you can copy the password and then paste it in. And it's very easy. We have over 300 items identified in ours. They're all sectioned by category, computer, medical, shopping, things that are important to us. Or you can just go alphabetically down and find the one, or you can type in one of the doctor's offices. We had to type that word in there, and then it comes up. There it is, and there's the password and the user ID. and notes about it, and you can store the URL so you can log on to their site, all in that one spot.
And
And
what Bob's
for
bringing
notes,
up,
you need to put some other comments in there.
what Bob's bringing up there is that in the regular real password managers like Bitwarden and LastPass, and I'm sure a bunch of the paid versions also, in that you can make your own folders, your category of organization, and then within each entry you put in, you can add notes of maybe security ideas that required by some sites, like your pet name. Well, it may be fictitious. So you put a note in there that says, my pet name is blah, blah, blah. And that way you don't have to necessarily remember it. Also in LastPass, I use what's called security notes. I have not done it in Bitwarden yet, mostly because my LastPass security notes, which are encrypted, they will not transfer easily because some of the files are very large. All my computers, the master passwords and user passwords are in this for each of the computers, and I have a lot of computers, as one example.
One of the other things that it will do for you is it will generate a password.
Mm-hmm.
You tell it how many characters you want, and if you have limitations on the special characters, you identify those, and it'll generate a password for you.
Right.
One cautionary note I learned the hard way. If you forget the password for that system, you're done.
Yes. Well,
They have no way to unlock it.
Well, they can't help you
save it.
unlock it, but they have a few recovery methods that might help jar your memory to get it done and get access again. If you fail on all that, you're SOL, you're starting over.
Another thing that is going to make password managers more popular is passkeys and the authenticator environment that they exist in.
Yes.
Passkeys will almost require you to have some kind of a device.
And passkeys are just getting off the ground, so to speak. And Apple, Microsoft, and Google, to name the top three, are all on board for passkeys. It's a two-factor authentication. It goes back to old encryption of emails that even CCS did back at the beginning of the century. And it's a case where it's a two-part key, a public key and a private key. And the online site sets it up for you. They give you your part of the key. They have their part of the key. It takes both halves for you to gain access. Now, if you lose your information, it's supposed to be fairly easy for you to set up a new passkey to get in after you re-authenticate yourself. There are even YouTube videos out there right now about it, along with articles.
Okay, thank you.
Did we get you totally confused now?
Well, you did a good job of helping.
Are you inclined to stick with your current system or move into the digital age?
Well, I'll say both. I'll do some more research and look at some of these videos, but I will not jump right into the digital age.
Okay.
It depends upon each individual. If you have the mentality of too many people with simple passwords that are easy to crack, you're the target of the bad guys. And so a password manager may not help you unless you understand how they function. You have a very strong master password to get in, and you have it help you generate strong passwords that it saves for you. And anytime you change your password in an online account, they usually will ask you, do you want me to save this new password? And it'll do it.
Yeah, no, I understand that. My major problem or thought about these systems were how safe the system was, not what the function, what the abilities that it had to come up with passwords. As far as my ability to make what I'll call unbreakable passwords, you know, how long they are, how many characters and things. I can make ones that it won't be breakable.
Well,
Bitwarden's password safe is
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year's.
the main thing, Tom, is I know with LastPass, and I'm pretty sure it's true of Bitwarden, I'm not sure about some of the paid versions, all the data you put in is encrypted on your computer, and only the encrypted copy goes up to the cloud account. And then it pulls back down encrypted and is decrypted on your computer to be able to see it, edit it, use it, however you want to do it. So all the encryption is local to you as the user, and all they're doing is storing encrypted information up there that takes a supercomputer to be able to crack all the encryption and know all your accounts, your usernames and passwords, and other security information.
Bitwarden also has the ability to test your password.
Right.
And it will test it and come back at you and tell you that password is known to somebody.
Yes, most of the browsers also will do that tune it. They have an option in them that usually is checked off automatically, that if they think a password you're using is out on the internet, they'll let you know so that you can get into that account and change the password to something better. But when people don't try and rely upon their memory and to create good passwords, and you have more than a couple accounts, that's impossible for most people's memory to handle. That's where the password managers come in. Having a sheet of paper like you've got right now is fine until A, your building burns down, or B, your apartment is broken into, and that's one of the first things they'll steal, because they can use it against you and clean out your bank accounts and other things like that. Order drugs from the pharmacies, food from grocery stores, you name it. And it all goes to you. All the bills.
I understand what you're saying there. Yeah, as soon as somebody would break into the apartment and, you know, grab that list, I would know that the list was gone.
Yeah, but how fast can you get into all those same accounts and change the passwords so it's useless to them or whoever they sell it to?
Well, I would say that it would probably take me about
forever, because you don't have
about 40 minutes to get into all of them, but the important ones probably 10 minutes.
If it's a printed copy and it's not backed up on the USB, it'd be basically impossible for you or for anybody to regurgitate all those accounts and their associated passwords to get into the accounts to change the passwords. That would be the issue that would come to play, if you will. That doesn't mean having a paper copy is a bad thing, a book or a backup. The likelihood of getting your house broken into and somebody purposely stealing your passwords is a relatively low thing. It does happen, and it can happen, depending upon where you live. But is that really, I think cyber espionage might be more elevated, if you will, than getting your home broken into, unless you live in areas that happens commonly.
Or if you live in an apartment community like I do.
Or this I could not say because, when I lived in an apartment, I didn't have the problems with that. But again, it could be a function of where you live. Is crime a prevalent thing or not?
Well, the thing is, you've also got maintenance people coming in and out, and you've got management people.
Mm-hmm.
Your landlord can come in anytime.
And
you never know what's going to happen.
And sometimes a prior resident still has the key and can get in or made a copy of the key. And if the locks aren't changed, then what?
Well, that has
Good night.
not been as much a problem. Okay. Good having you here, Bob.
Thank you for letting me join you. Happy New Year.
All I can
Happy
say
New Year's.
is,
thanks for joining us.
Changed, and if they took the printed copy, fine. I do have it on flash drive, so I could get into this right away. When a printed copy is not in the drawer, it would be printed again from the flash drive, and I would go in and change the 6 or 7 accounts that are dollar important, and then I'd go back to walking through everything else.
Well, Tom, you're a senior like many of us. That means higher medical problems. You just got hospitalized. But the day after you went in the hospital, somebody broke in. Until you get back home, good luck.
Yeah. And they'd know I was gone, probably, too.
Well, all kinds of
You have a good point there. And the main reason I was worried about put him in something like one of these, like LastPass is what I came up with. Putting him out there is I was thinking, well, if it's out on the cloud somewhere, somebody else could get it from that.
No.
You were mentioning how it would be encrypted out in the cloud, and it would have to come down to my machine and get my part of it also. So it would have to have its version and my version, which would be on my machine, connected together to work. Is that correct?
That's for PassKey, which is replacing passwords. But the password manager, it takes any of your new account information or edited versions and encrypts them on your machine. It goes to the cloud encrypted and stays there until you need the information, brings down the encrypted copy so you can look at it on your machine.
Oh, okay.
So it's a combination thing. And if you have strong master password, if you have strong individual online account passwords, odds are you're never going to get cracked until they figure out how to make quantum computers realistically. And quantum computers can take any current encryption system and wipe it out in a matter of minutes.
Yeah. No, I understand that. And I've even read articles where they're talking about if you only have it in letters and numbers, that it would take them 12 years to break it down. But if you have it letters, numbers, special characters, and it's 15 characters or longer, it would take them 24,000 years to be able to break it down.
But not with a quantum computer once
Oh,
they
no,
get that,
I agree with that.
done. Quantum computers.
But wait, Tim, quantum computers are still in the experimental stage.
Yes, but
Okay. I think there's barely 1 or 2 of them in existence.
No, there's more than that. But nation states are putting a lot of money into doing it to be able to crack encryption.
Correct, but they're not looking to crack encryption on yours or mine's or LastPass accounts, they're looking to get into the federal government and
Sure.
all the associated agencies.
That's part of it.
We're the lowest on their views. So I understand the concern over quantum computers coming into play, but not during our lifetime will this be an issue, because they have not even close to mainstream. They're right now, they're experimental. They barely have them functional, but they're still working on them.
Mm-hmm.
He's just making a point, and I understand. But with the kind of password lengths and the characters that I'm using, it would be very hard for anything that's out there today to be breaking it.
Right.
And the accounts that have two-factor, how does LastPass handle that?
It handles two-factor authentication also if you want to set it up. There are a number of different two-factor, multi-factor authentication schemes. Some of them use SMS text messaging to you, which is unencrypted messaging through only about 3 different carriers, and it's very easy for bad people to get a hold of that. Plain email is almost as bad, and if you use encrypted email, that's much more secure, because they have to either get a hold of the unencrypted at a critical point, or their SOL.
But still means that when you sign in and then they come back and tell you, how do you want your access password sent to you, or your access code sent to you, you're choosing how that's going, but you still have to make that choice and handle that part of it. So it adds an extra leg in there even if somebody happens to get a hold of your regular password anyway, but they still might have trouble getting into the account.
Yeah, better is Microsoft, Google, and a few others. They have, especially for your phone, an authenticator application. Every 30 seconds, the number changes. You type in the code that it pops up, and you got about a minute to type it in, and that gives the two-factor authentication that's better than email or SMS text, and it works via your phone.
Right.
Just go out to your store and look for the authenticator apps.
Don't want to. If it just texts me the number, that's all I need. When after I use the number, I delete it out of the text anyway. So.
Well, yeah, but that doesn't
only
stop
good for
it
a
from
short
being
time.
on the other computers that are out there on the internet.
Yeah, the text message is sent through a system which has proven to be rather insecure.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get across. That and plain email are very insecure. And a lot of those
gloom. There's a lot of doom and gloom going on here.
A lot of the authenticator codes that go through SMS, text, and email, they are alive for up to 15 minutes.
Yeah, but having any 2FA is better than not having it.
That's correct.
Sometimes you don't have a choice, because that's the only way they'll let you in.
It's the only way they're going to do it, is they're going to send it via code.
Yeah, that happens.
A lot of I've dealt with a lot of medical sites that are going that route, where you have to get the two-factor authentication.
Most of the financial ones are too.
Well, you can also, like I say, check out the authenticator apps with each site and see if they will take that as a way of validation. Then there's no SMS, text, or email.
Well, anyway, there are various ways
I try to keep as little information on my phone as absolutely necessary.
Yeah, but
it's for making phone calls and very, very basic communication.
Yeah, but Harry, the authenticators, they are like a kind of like a slot machine, where the numbers every 30-second change. So that and the total life of that number is about 1 minute. And as long as you get
a number of the companies use the same thing. My daughter, the company she worked for, could work from home, but she had to have the authenticator with her whenever she signed in, so it would generate the number she used to get in.
That's right.
That's
I've used them in the past.
I know they're available, but that's another
but they don't work
fixture on my phone that somebody else has access to if my phone gets lost.
Well, I mean, so what? They got to know what account is using that authenticator. In fact, you can have all the authenticator apps and use different ones on different sites. You don't have to use one app on all your sites.
And add that to the list of numbers you have to keep in
No,
a list
you're not
that you go look
keeping
at.
track of anything. You're keeping track of nothing. It gives you the number to use for a short period of time. That's it. And nobody else can use it.
These are pretty well containerized systems. And I think I don't know if it was before this meeting or during, I mentioned that it's awfully difficult to move data into or out of a container. It acts as a very effective firewall.
Well, thank you for talking about this. I appreciate your time.
Okay, so the next thing that you brought up, Tom, was you wanted to find a way to make a shortcut to a URL, correct?
Well, yes.
You kind of threw me when you were talking about left click, right click. So maybe you want to tell the group what you're looking for.
Okay. When I was working on a project for you guys, for our group, the only way I could get a URL to be able to click on it to go to a particular screen, as a matter of fact, it was to get to our history files, to history movies. I was making a copy of it from older sites or from basically our, what would you call it, the invitation to get on our screen for today.
Right.
And so I make a copy of that and put it on the bottom of the one of the paragraphs I was working on. And at that point, you could not just left click on it. You had to do a control left click. So I don't know what it is. Instead of going to just doing a direct left click on it, I had to do a control left click. I don't understand.
You're talking about the email that was sent out for this, that had the shortcut to come to join?
Yes.
So it wasn't, are you saying it wasn't a hyperlink is what you got? When you clicked on it, you say, I don't know because I'm not on that side. I'm not seeing these. Did everyone else here use the link, right?
Yeah. Single left click, and I'm bringing up the browser, opening a tab, and going to the site.
It depends on where this link is. If it's in webmail, Tim's right. If it's something you copied into a document, it depends on the rules that document uses, that application uses.
Right.
In my LibreOffice, and I think it's also true in Microsoft Office, you would have to do a right click and select from the menu to open. And in some applications, you need to use a control right click.
Right. There is another option for URLs that don't change often. You can right click on your desktop, select new, say shortcut, and do a copy paste of the URL into that line. Click next, and then it asks for a text description that you understand what it's about. And then you type in that text, And when you say next, you got a shortcut on your desktop that when you double click it, it will open up your browser because it recognizes a URL. Go to a tab, open it up, put in the URL, and bring up the site. In most cases, I'm not saying it's 100% true. I've used it before. It so far has worked for me for what I've used it for. But there can be instances where there may be some sites it will not work on, but it's another option.
Okay.
TinyURL, Joe Nowak used that a lot. He converted, when he was referring sites, he almost always converted them, but they came through as tiny URLs, which didn't look at all like what you thought you were getting. But it was an abbreviated version, so that when somebody clicked on it, it then opened up the full URL.
Yes.
All right.
Always it's easy to make those.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me go to TinyURL. So this is the website TinyURL. You just type it in and it'll take you here. And all you need to do is put in the link here on the left-hand side. So what I'll do is I'll find, I'll pull up a link to something. All right, so this one is just Control C and enter the long link here, Control V, and shorten the link. And that's all it takes in here to do this.
And then you copy that shortened link and put it in your documents or emails.
Yeah, that'll still have the same issues with how you click on it to open it.
Right.
That could be true with almost any browser, or like you identified, it could be how you're physically doing it.
Well, if it's an email, it works one way, but if you use a word processor of some kind or something like that, it may have different rules per program you may use. And then you have something like Notepad, which is text only, so you have to copy and manually paste that on your own.
Yeah, even in Word, you have to, you often have to copy the URL and then create the hyperlink, paste it into the hyperlink. After that, it operates like a normal hyperlink.
Okay, what I was using was Word in a document, and I was copying it off a different document and pasting it where I wanted it to be in Word, and that's where it came up being in the new document as a Control left click.
Well,
yeah, that's what Word does.
Yes, that's characteristic of that program. Some others do the same thing. Other ones, like Bob Premick brought up before, you may have to right-click the hyperlink and click on the context menu. At the top, it says Open, and you click on Open, and it will function correctly.
Yeah, although in your case, it turned out to be Control right-click.
Right.
So, you know, that's just each piece of software does things differently.
Okay.
Some of this stuff gets into copyright of ideas and techniques. And Microsoft and Apple had lawsuits back and forth galore about this stuff. So it's not imaginary. It's real to try and avoid being exactly the same as another product. Therefore, there are slight little deviations one way or another, and you have to live with it.
Okay, I just thought I was doing something extremely wrong the way I was trying to copy it over there.
No.
If you
Odds are-
use a lot of different kinds of software, you get used to crazy interfaces and crazy quirks that they have as to how to do each thing.
Okay.
Terry
That's another
Moy,
question for me. Thanks.
Terry Moy, we're getting some sound through your microphone.
Oh, my wife's, yeah, she's on the other, yeah,
Then you're going to have to mute.
yeah, I will. My wife on, the other room.
Okay, so we covered the two of the things that Tom had brought up. Now let's segue over to what Bob had found. He wanted to talk about this earlier, but I cut him short on this before the meeting started. So, Bob, would you like to talk about Windows side by side and other things?
Well, the first thing I'd like to do, since I'm not sure how much time there will be left in the meeting, is I want to cover something that's time critical that happens this month.
Okay, let's do that. And then, if I may,
yeah,
if you want to hold your more in-depth thing till Tuesday, we could bring this up at tips and tricks.
We could very well do that, and that's why I want to start with my third thing.
Okay, all right. Let's go to number 3.
I have an Intel NUC small form factor PC, and so have some of the other members of our group, and some former members, people who don't show up anymore. Al Cheeks was really into them. Well, the entire NUC product line, Intel has been having financial difficulties, and they're trying to cut back on their expenses. And the NUC, being a hobbyist type of computer, and being one that's a kit that you build yourself, it generates a lot of tech support calls. So Intel has decided to move the entire product line. At first, they just wanted to drop the product line. But then hobbyists complained, and the company, which we pronounce Asus, but that company pronounces its own name, Asus, the Taiwanese company, decided, hey, there's enough of a market, and there's enough of a technical market and embedded systems market. We're going to market the NUC ourselves. So all the support and probably the drivers and the BIOS and everything is going to be transferred over to Asus as of January 14th. And this, to me, just simply means I'll be getting my drivers, updates, and support from somewhere else. I bought my NUC through a company called Simply NUC, and I believe they'll continue to carry the NUCs. And they provide excellent tech support as well. So there are different ways that we will get our support. But, this is just something that can happen when you're in a little bit of a niche market. And later on, I will post a document which contains not only the URLs for this information, but also, if we get to it, the other information. Any questions or comments?
These days, this is almost an inevitability because tech support, when it gets too high, adds a cost of human beings, and most companies are trying to cut back on that. And some of them farm this stuff out to like India companies at a cheaper rate, et cetera, et cetera. And if you're lucky, you get somebody who speaks excellent English, and other times you may get somebody that you can't figure out anything they're saying.
Yes, with both Simply NUC and with Asus, I have had very good luck that they speak very good English. And in fact, most of the Asus techs are in fact Taiwanese themselves. And with Simply NUC, they'll often have like an English accent from Britain, because they do a lot of business through Ireland. That's how they import or export. But in any event, that's just an item that is time sensitive, so I wanted to get that out first.
Appreciate that. Anyone here use the NUCs besides Bob? Bob, you're the only one. You're making a path for all of us.
Well, what I like about the NUC is how customizable it is.
They are, and they're great machines.
And they are small. They don't take up much space.
Uh-huh.
And among small form factor PCs, they have better heat management than many do. My NUC, if I were to show it to you, it's 4 by 4 inches, which is about the size of the palm of my hand. That's how big the system fan is.
Wow.
So that can move a lot of air. The disadvantage is you don't have a lot of ports. And if you do any kind of work inside the case, then you need tiny little tweezers and a magnifier. They are also, Asus is going to continue to sell the bare bones single board version, which doesn't have the case. That's a lot more accessible. It's more like a Raspberry Pi or an Arduino. And it also works well for embedded systems, where you have the computer in some kind of a control system in industry, for example. And that's probably the only salvation for the product line. But there are industrial use cases.
Well, Raspberry Pi is going that direction too, and Raspberry 5 is a heck of a lot more expensive than any prior version of Raspberry Pi.
And also Asus has not announced this yet, but there have been some sneak peek previews that say there will be a 14th generation NUC, and there will be a product line surrounding that. Beyond 14th gen, it depends on what Intel puts out.
Excellent.
Well, thank you for that update. And then I'll say we'll talk about the other topics you had at the tips and tricks meeting, which will be next Tuesday.
Okay, we don't want to take more time today. We want to get on to other things.
Well, we got nothing else to go on to, but I thought we'd save the entirety. You said it was kind of in depth.
Well, it depends on how far people want to go into the two topics. They have to do with how we maintain and clean up a PC, and what kinds of things take up a lot of space on your computer. I have limited space on the internal SSD of my NUC. And what I do want to do is just give a taste of what what I work with. Do I have it in this document? Yeah. I just want to, for a moment, go into a share and show if everybody can see Wiztree.
Yes.
And that is what I use to analyze my disk space. And what I'm going to do, if I can, is I'm going to run it as administrator.
You're doing this on SSDs?
It'll work on any kind of disk.
Okay.
Just a moment while I have to do my admin password. Just a minute.
In other words, it doesn't wear them down like the defraggers did, huh?
Oh no, this is just a data analyzer that figures out where all your categories of storage are located at, and what your biggest to the smallest is.
So it's only doing a reading, it's not doing a writing.
Okay.
And it actually doesn't scan the disk. If it did that, it would be way too slow. It's actually looking only into the GUID and the MBR. And that basically means it's getting a listing of everything that's in here. So you can expand windows, and you can get this thing called Win Side by Side. Look how many things there are in there. And Win Side by Side is often a very large part of how much disk space is used.
Well, you still got a lot free.
I do have a lot free because I freed up a lot of space. I was getting down to where I had a lot less out of, by the way, it wasn't this computer. This is the other computer. This is my tower. And it has a drive that's at least twice, maybe 4 times the size. What I had was 114 gigabytes of total space, and I was using 82 gig. So that was getting a little much. And in here, I have in Win side by side 10.4 gig. I had over, I think, 15 gig in my little NUC. And again, much less disk space. So it was a much worse situation. But anyway, you can find out what the biggest parts are. Now, as for how you clean up Win side by side and also System 32 driver store, that will also often have a lot in it. This one doesn't, but on the other computer, I had 8 to 9 gig before I reduced it. Those were mostly obsolete drivers. So that is the basis upon which I had to go into these things. And it has to do with how you reduce the size of Win side by side and of the driver store in System 32. The purpose of the driver store is it allows you to roll back your drivers, but it may also contain what are called ghost drivers, drivers for devices you no longer have or peripherals you no longer connect. And so there are ways of cleaning up. In fact, I could just show. Cut me off if I'm taking too much time, but I could show. There are 2 different disk management, disk cleanup tools in Windows 10 or 11. And let me show you if I can. All right. First I'm going to do what is now called Storage Sense. And what this is going to do is it's going to show me different things. You can manage your installed apps from here, and you have other areas which I may or may not wish to get rid of. I would like to see what's in my other people thing. You can manage other user accounts. Well, I'm not going to do anything about that. That I would do only in an administrator account, and I'm in a limited user account. But temporary files often have a lot of things like temporary internet files, delivery optimization. That has to do with Windows Update. So you get this accumulation that takes place, and that's where Win side by side gets all this stuff from updating software and updating Windows. But anyway, what I was going to show is if there was anything about drivers, about more categories. Let's go with system and reserved. Here I have my hibernation file and my system restore, which of course take up quite a bit of space. But there are things called driver packages, and they're in the temporary files. And if you were to refresh, it sometimes will show that there are driver packages, which are obsolete and you don't really need them anymore. But the other one, if I can do it from a limited user account, I'll see, is called Clean Manager. And it specifies which drive. Yes, I want Windows. And now we have some other things in here. You'll have the same things you see in storage. And this was the old disk cleanup tool that we had before Windows 10. And if you want to go with cleanup system files, password. I didn't like it.
Because we can't see your password.
Well, you're not supposed to. It's the administrator's password on that system.
I want to see his password.
Okay, you saw it say that it was scanning device driver packages, and it's got a Microsoft Defender antivirus stuff that's got a little bit in there, and device driver packages. Right now, I don't have any. That's why it doesn't show up. But these are the old installers for your drivers, and it includes drivers that you already updated like a bazillion years ago. Delivery optimization files, that's Windows Update, that's Win side by side. Device driver packages is your driver store. So these are things that you can limit or control by cleaning them up from time to time. Yes. There are also tools available which can do a much more in-depth job. But here's where you have to be careful. Tim was saying before the meeting that there's a DISM command line tool for cleaning up Win side by side. There is also an option in the in PowerShell or the command line in Windows where you can reset the baseline. You don't want to reset your base unless you really never want to uninstall a program again.
That's correct.
Because that will remove all the uninstalled data.
Yes. Also on the cleanup manager, a very important point there. When you're in the administrator's section of cleaning up the system files, after a upgrade, like from 21H2 to 22H2, 22H2 to 23H2, etc., it leaves an old Windows file system. And that can take up anywhere between about 3 gigabytes to 25 gigabytes of space. And that tool will clean out and return to you all that space that one file is taking up when you believe the new version of upgrade is working correctly and everything is working fine. Don't delete it before then.
Yeah. So between Wiztree, which showed me what was big, and the various cleanup tools, on the other computer, since I hadn't cleaned it in a long, long time and it had been upgraded from Windows 10 to Windows 11, it didn't have the Windows 10 to Windows 11 upgrade files, but it had every software update I had ever done was stuck in Win side by side. And every driver I had updated, which is pretty frequent on these Intel NUCs. It was a lot of it still in there. About 18 to 20 gigabytes at least combined.
Yes. With the side-by-side, you have to understand, as Microsoft is putting in updates every month to your system, those are new drivers that obsoletes the old ones, but they keep them around in case you want to roll back a driver due to a problem. The problem is they don't do any automatic clean out of the real old dead wood. This is where you have to use other tools. Some of them are built into the operating system, and some of them are third-party tools to be able to clean this garbage out and keep your system to a manageable size, and it'll run faster as a result.
Yeah, so my point is there are 2 different cleanup tools built into Windows that are quite safe to use. And the old style disk cleanup tool had a little more granular detail to it. You could go into the system files and you could see that you had driver device packages, things of that nature in your driver store. And you could see what optimization files you have, which would affect Win side by side. But for Win side by side, you can't see from within Windows all the different applications you've updated, the ones you have that are third party. There you may wish to use other tools. So that was my year-end cleanup story and how I regained about 20% of the of the total SSD capacity for that SSD.
And on Tuesday, we'll go more in depth on what you did and how you did it.
If you have questions and answers, or we can have some guided discussion on it. Meanwhile, I will leave people from this meeting with a copy of my document from all this as a document from my computer. It'll be in chat. Let me get it down to my desktop. Here we go. That. Open. I have to close it before I can do that. Very well. Try again. Open. And that should be coming up to everybody now. And that document may be referenced again on tips and tricks, wherein we may be able to get a little more in depth as to what's going on.
Right.
Because I do have linked articles, and we can see more of what they say.
And I will save it right there. ODT.
So that's a good preview.
All right. And I'm going to conclude tonight's meeting if unless someone else has any questions or comments.
Sandberg, how's your wife doing with the real estate and mortgages? Not much.
Hold on. Let me conclude tonight's meeting. Anyone else have any other questions?
Okay.
Recording stopped.